Well, it's been a while since I did a whiteboard session like this, but we got a lot of questions about this workout today that was called Bettor's Choice. And for those of you guys that have already done it, or perhaps you're about ready to do it, or maybe you're going to do it at some other time, basically the way that this workout works is that there is a grouping of things that you need to finish, but you are the decider of how you actually go about completing the work. So what I wanted to do is kind of talk through a couple of different options and why you might choose one, and then based upon how you feel like you did in that workout, it's going to shine the light on a couple of things in terms of what was a limiting factor for you and how can you actually progress based upon how you felt in the workout, how you were able to complete the reps, and then what the desired stimulus of a workout like this should be, because ultimately that's going to inform and influence how each individual tackles a workout like this in the future. I had a couple of requests to shoot this video because it's on the heels of some conversation that we had after the 9 o'clock class today. So basically, I just wrote up 4 different iterations or 4 different possible options for how you could go about tackling this specific workout. These seem to be some common ones. Now, there is an infinite number of possibilities in how you could actually do this. So the way that I broke it down is option A, B, C, D. The first line is like what the strategy could be called. So option A is straight through, where you're going run a mile, then 60 dumbbell box step up, then 60 no push-up burpees, and then finally finishing with 60 knees to elbow or 120 sit-ups. Option B would be the 2-round option where you're basically cutting everything in half. So half a mile, 30, 30, 30 times 2. Option C was the 4-rounder version, then option D would be like an 8-round version. So you'd go 200, and then you would do, what is that, 10, 12, reps of every single thing, but you're going to go 8 times through that entire cycle, all right? The limiter is, the question that you should be asking yourself is like, well, what does he mean by limiter? Is basically, why were you not able to go faster with the option that you picked? Okay, so we're going to start down here at option D. If you are somewhere between the 4 and 8 round option of this workout that you chose, the reason that you were not able to go faster is just skill acquisition. Okay, and another, like the sciencey term for that is motor control. If you were in between like option B and C, where you were starting to get bigger chunks of work done, but you still weren't able to go faster for some reason. If you're over here, it is just muscle endurance, meaning you just ran out of the ability to stay moving with whatever movement you were actually doing. So for instance, if you were not able to keep a consistent cadence on your dumbbell box step up or your no push-up burpees, and the way to think of this that I love is think about a metronome, kind of ringing with every time that you complete a rep. Can your rhythm maintain the same cadence over the course of doing a big chunk of repetitions? So for the folks, like I actually did this version today, 4 rounds. I did 400, 15, 15, 15. The reason that I couldn't go faster is just my muscle endurance would not allow me to do so beyond 15 reps at a time. Before I move on to option B, I'm going to make sure that the camera is still running. Okay, cool. We're still good. So option B, if you were somebody who did this option and thinking, man, how come I could not finish this workout faster? There was less transitions. I could do big chunks of things. It's actually a combination of your ability to express muscle endurance and then to have some sort of strength endurance. And really, strength endurance is a small thing to think about in a workout like this because there's not a whole lot of external load that's being put on you besides maybe the dumbbell box step ups, depending upon A, what size dumbbell did you choose, and B, what was the height of the box. So those can certainly play a limiter, but muscle endurance is still going to be the predominant reason why this person could not go faster. They're doing bigger sets than the person did, excuse me, in option C, the 4-rounder. But because of that, and so 30, 30, 30, that's a big chunk of repetitions to be able to keep that same cadence up. So why were they not able to go faster? Again, it's a big dose of muscle endurance. And then option A, for the person that attacked it this way, where they ran straight through 60, 60, 60, you know, the question becomes a lot more granular, and you look at like, what was the specific bottleneck? So you can start at the top, run a mile. Were you able to maintain the same pace for that entire mile? Did you have to stop? Did you have to walk? Did you have to slow down, speed up? Any of those things, was that the bottleneck? Then the next one is 60 dumbbell box step ups. That is a lot of time under tension to be stepping up and then down. Was the bottleneck that, you know, your no push-up burpees, you were doing them a little bit too quick, so you had to stop, so every 5, 10, 12 reps, take a couple of breaths? That is a limiter, okay? And then finally, maybe it was the sheer volume of the knees to elbow or the sit-ups. In that case, you're looking at like individual bottlenecks, but again, it's still going to come down to muscle endurance. That is going to be the big limiter on a workout like this, where there is a lot of work to be done in terms of repetitions of specific things. Now, I like to think of this, I like to look at this in terms of like the opportunity that we have to progress. Meaning, if you did this option of the workout and you're like, okay, great, I understand my limiter was skill acquisition. How can I get better so that if this ever comes up again, I can perform it quicker, or maybe I move on to a different option for attacking this workout? And it's pretty simple for this person. You need to do a lot of cyclical type work, meaning you just need to get development on moving constantly, so where you are not stopping or having to slow down and rest. And you can do that really, really well on the rower, the bikes, the ski erg, things like that, where there is very, very low tension. Even walking is a great option for increasing the amount of cyclical work that you can do. And like I said earlier, what you're working on there is what we term motor control. For the person like myself, what I think about how would I actually, perform this workout better if I wanted to, what I would work on is cyclical work that combines some elements of gymnastics in it. So instead of doing, say, 1,000 meters on the rower, rest 4 minutes, repeat 5 times, what I might do is 500 meters on the rower, 5 no push-up burpees, 500 meters on the rower, 5 knees to elbow, rest 4 minutes, repeat 4 to 5 times. So that would be cyclical plus gymnastics. For the person that chose the 2-round option, what your opportunity to progress in something like this is, you think about like big sets of EMOM work. So you could do, every minute on the minute, you might do 10 dumbbell box step ups, rest at the top of the next minute. The next minute you might do 10 no push-up burpees, rest at the top of the next minute, and do 10 knees to elbow. And you could repeat that for 4 rounds of every single movement. Then the next progression would be 5 rounds. The next progression would be 6 rounds. And then you would shrink the amount of time. So maybe instead of not every 60 seconds, you would go every 45 seconds, and so on and so forth. But the big thing here for this person is you're doing this type of progression with no interfering muscle groups whatsoever. So you wouldn't combine a dumbbell box step up with something like an air squat or a lunge. You wouldn't combine, no push-up burpees with a kettlebell swing or a box jump. And you wouldn't combine knees to elbow with something where there's a lot of hip closing, like a ski erg, or what's something else that's really hip closing type movement? Like a sit-up. You wouldn't combine those two things, right? And then finally, for this last person, you would do the exact same thing that I said here, EMOM, big sets of repetitions, but you would start to introduce interference, because we're trying to figure out what the bottleneck is. Is it a ton of reps and movements, or is it that the no push-up burpees, your legs are dead coming off of the heels of all those box jumps? And then the last thing that I want to cover, when you look at a workout like this, at face value, what you want to learn over time is how to look at a workout and figure out really, really quickly, okay, what is what we call the desired dose or the dose response of that workout. Put another way, how should you feel after you get done with something like this? You should not feel destroyed. You should not feel like you can't just finish, get up and walk away right away. So the desired dose for this is the same all the way across the board, all right? And that is one of, the desired dose here is, it is aerobic in nature, meaning every one of these people, if you chose 8 rounds, you should be moving the entire time. Same thing, 4 rounds. The pace of every round, if you look at how long each round took, should be the same. No breaks. 2-round person, same thing. And then the straight through person, you'll know if you chose the right option for your level of fitness, if you were able to maintain pace, not slow down and stop. If that wasn't you, no problem. You just take a look at, okay, what was my limiter? And then what is my opportunity to get better and progress? So I know that was kind of a long video. It's been a while since we've been at the whiteboard together. If you've got any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know down in the comments, and I'll be happy to expand on it when that time comes. Take care, guys.